so we're going to choose the first name and have that individual come up to the stage.
And the first person on our list is Bree Garner from University of So before I get started, just want to get a little bit of a disclaimer for myself. As I'm sure everyone from my chapter knows, I sometimes struggle with speaking, so I always say words are hard, so bear with me. So I've always been interested in global health since ever I can remember, but this past summer I had the amazing opportunity of going to Peru to work with an NGO and do an impact assessment and a needs assessment. And I was really excited, had all these awesome expectations, but little did I know that it was actually gonna flip. I thought, I'm gonna do so much for this organization, I am going to make a huge impact in this community, but the community really made an impact on myself. So I was super excited, got to Cusco, Peru. I don't know if you're all aware, it's about 13,000 feet in altitude. Go on this super awesome hike around the Incan ruins, and I end up not being able to breathe. And I was hospitalized for 6 or 7 days, and one of the most crazy experiences I've had in my life. And being in the hospital, A, not knowing what was wrong with me, B, knowing Spanish, but it's completely different when you're talking about your health and your well-being, and when they bring up the words like heart attack, which I didn't have. But those words are so terrifying, and it wasn't until, I always thought I had this empathy for people, but this experience is really how I have these personal connections with other people. I lost my agency in that situation. I was going through translators who were having to tell me about what I should do or to explain my situation when half the time they were speaking in Spanish so fast I couldn't understand what they were saying and then not translating it to me. And I come back home and I'm working in a community health clinic with Latino women, and it's the same thing. They're working through translators and that's what they're relying on. So I come home and everyone says, wow, you had to go home early. You didn't get to experience everything. You didn't get to learn. You didn't go to Machu Picchu. And I'm like, are you kidding? No, I lost more. So I learned so much more than I ever could have if I just spent those 8 weeks that I'd hoped to working for an NGO. And so now when I take that back, I was so fortunate then to come home and join GlobeMed with some of the most amazing people that are now my family and take what I learned, be able to, I lost my agency. And other people do, whether it's in their, like our partners, people lose their agency in these communities, whether it's internal issues or organizations that have complete opposite visions of GlobeMed and not working with their partners. So from there, it taught me that, again, many people around the world experience these similar situations, and applying that personal connections, the personal partnership, taking that back to GlobeMed, to where I go in the future, and empowering people to have their own sense of agency in these scary health situations, because no matter where you are in the world, the healthcare system is a very scary and intimidating thing. So yeah, I just like to also close with the fact that look around you, look at these amazing people, listen to these stories that you're going to hear tonight and how you can take that with you and apply them to your not only personal connections around the room, but through your partnership and through your future. So thanks.
Thanks, Bree. That was beautiful. And now she has the historic position of first ever Story Slammer. So, round of applause. So now we're going to read a couple of your slips. Hopefully you didn't write anything. Oh, actually, if you wrote something embarrassing, we did you a favor and just scrap that. Just kidding, we're reading all of them. Just kidding, God, just kidding. Anyways, so...
Let's get started. All right. So the question, we got a lot of stories to tell. What keeps you motivated to be a leader and advocate for social justice? So looking around in my local community, not just in our GlobeMed partners worldwide, and seeing a new issue every day that needs committed leaders to address it. Along these lines, seeing privilege living besides oppression in Chicago and Philly, where I've lived, but not seeing lots of interaction to change that dynamic.
This person is motivated by hearing other people's stories and experiencing injustice as a minority.
Yeah. All the people around the world who have been forced to face circumstances so much harder than I can imagine, yet fight and work tirelessly every day motivates me.
This person is motivated by the people.
All right, and last for right now, seeing happiness in life in people who have nothing except the love of people in the world. So with that, our next storyteller. Tiani Zhang from Lawrence University.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Actually, okay. So when I was young, it was like almost 13 years ago. My mom and I traveled to Yunnan province in China. It's the most south province in China. Absolutely. I was amazed by the beautiful landscape at first. And also, yeah, because Yunnan province is famous for its beautiful landscape. Okay, so as the travel continued, my mom and I went to like a small village in there. And what I found that the small village is surrounded by like mountains, because like Yunnan province is surrounded by mountains. So in there, the anti-poverty is kind of hard to implement because of the lack of infrastructure and something. So, but I was really young at that time. Then I asked my mom, like, where did this kids go for school? Because like I took school for granted that, oh, I should go to school. Like I have these books and I have all of this stuff. But so I asked my mom, oh, these villages are surrounded by mountains, so where these kids go for school? Like there's even no like KFC or like fancy restaurant. And another thing I found is that most people living there are ethnic minorities. And my mom said, so my mom and I asked the villagers in there, is that they need to work like almost 2 hours per day for school. Because, you know, like, these villages are kind of segregated from the main cities. So, so like, there's only like one school in each area. So in order to go to school, they have to walk. And even though they have the car, but because of the road, you know, it's not that well constructed. So it's hard for them to go to school. And so I think, I took school for granted, and I took a lot of things for granted, but there are still like kids like that don't have the stuff that I own. So I think, yeah, we all should do something. And also, after that, since I learned more and I read newspapers and I watched TV and something, I know like there's also social exclusion caused by poverty or discrimination. So I think I should do something and we all should do something for. I think that's it. Let me see if there are anything else.
We forgot the box. We grabbed the box. All right.
Okay, it's on now. So we've been hearing a lot of cool stories about you guys, and we kind of wanted to tell you a story of our own that developed maybe 2 hours ago.
So Vicky and I, we were told to like prepare funny things. We're told that MCs are funny. We already talked about this. We covered this. And so, being the really diligent students that we are, we wanted to look up, you know, how are you? Yeah, we did. We want to know how to be funny. So we started doing it like the Reddit. Who like you know we looked on Reddit. We're looking on YouTube. This is really embarrassing.
My mic doesn't work. We checked WikiHow. That's when you know it's bad. Like I think the last time I checked WikiHow was like middle school, how to make out with someone.
Alright, so like our search, it didn't really go so well. We tried, we did, but along the way, we found a couple things that we think are really great ways to not be so funny. But we decided, like, because we are a GlobeMed family, that we want to try them out anyways, because, like, when else are we ever going to be able to try these out on people? So, just use this.
Gosh darn it. One of them was to have a cheer. Was it? Oh, yes, a cheer. So Brittany's pretty good at this. But
I got it. All right, this side of the room. Ooh, wait, what word? Okay, no, I got it. This side of the room, you're gonna say story. This side of the room, you're gonna say slam. And when I point to you, you'll say it. So like you have to change speeds depending on how quickly I point at you. So this is gonna go really well. All right. Story, slam, story. Whoever's the loudest wins, so like, yeah, alright. Story, slam, story, slam, story, slam, story, slam, story, slam, story,
was it funny though?
I don't think it was so funny. So, I mean, we did really diligent research in finding out how to not be funny. It's fine.
I mean, we have more for you if you like all this kind of thing.
We'll try this again later. We have a few other little tricks up our sleeves. For now, we're going to read off some more answers to the questions that you filled out.
So, what keeps you, keep in mind, the question is, what keeps you motivated as a leader and advocate for social justice? And the first is, knowing that little things can add up to make a big change.
Seeing the GlobeMed model in action through our sustainable partnership. Now, without further ado, I'm going to do my best with pronouncing your last name. I'm so sorry. Alex Furbach? Yeah, University of Denver!
right, my name's Alec. I'm from the University of Denver. For me, I actually was probably the person who put that one in there and said what motivates me is people. And so I'm going to tell you a story about a person I met. I met Shark, as he asked me to call him, at the Children's Hospital prom last December. This nickname was his obsession. He unbuttoned his shirt, kind of like Clark Kent, but instead of that iconic S, he had a shark there. He spent like 15 minutes with the tattoo designer, trying to figure out exactly which shark he wanted to get on his arm for the week. He taught me a secret handshake, where he'd put our hands over our head like this, like the fin of the shark, knock them together, and then dive them down low, like the shark after coming up to the surface. He asked me if I knew why he was so obsessed with sharks. I had no idea. He told me that when he was diagnosed, the doctor said that chemo was like a shark. It'd go in and eat away all the cancer. Now, as I watched him out there on the dance floor doing his shark dance, which to be honest, I'm not exactly sure what it had to do with sharks. I think he just called it that. It was bittersweet, because I knew that for every kid that has successful treatment, there's another one where that's not even an option. While Shark was able to try to moonwalk into the prom to impress the Broncos cheerleaders that were there was another one that never really had the opportunity to be a kid. But I'm optimistic that this can change. In a large part because of all the people who are sitting in this room. Because I know that with a group of people who are committed to making health a human right, we'll be able to hear more people repeat the words that Shark told me that night when he talked about his chemotherapy. And he said that shark had saved his life. Thank you.
If you ever see us come out without the little green box, just holler. All right, we have a couple more answers to read.
What keeps you motivated to be a leader and advocate for social justice? To speak for those who cannot have their voices be heard, and to use the privileges I have to advocate for those who don't.
My personal experience of how unfair it is to be left out in a situation just because of my identity as a minority.
To fight for the rights of those who may not have the ability to fight for themselves.
I don't think we had anything planned for this one. Sorry. All right, so we're going to go ahead with the next story.
I heard Alec made you laugh that time, so my job is done. Catherine, it's either Venables or Venables. University of Washington.
Okay, so I'm a little awkward. I'm warning you right now, and I didn't have much prepared before 10 minutes ago, but I typed it into my phone, so let's see how this goes. My name is Catherine. I'm from the University of Washington, and when I sit down and think about why I became committed to social justice, it all goes back to when I was 14. I just started my freshman year of high school. Just like everyone, I was very naive and excited and thought high school was going to be so great, because it totally was for everyone, right? But almost immediately, my body flipped a switch. I lost a third of my body weight. I was in constant pain. I lost consciousness several times a day. And I literally stopped eating food with the exception of a banana every couple days. I really bonded during that time with my local ER staff, and they just did not know what was going on with me. Eventually, I was diagnosed with an incredibly aggressive form of Crohn's disease, which is an illness where my immune system pretty much turned on itself and actively tries to destroy my intestines. It affects my heart, it affects my skin, it affects my eyes, and almost every single part of my body. And I have a lot of sob stories about missing pivotal moments in my life, homecoming, all these really important things, but I'm not going to go into that because I don't want any pity. After a couple of years and a lot of illness, a lot of bad days, my doctor basically decided that we had to go into some hardcore medications, including one where I'd have to go in, get an IV treatment every couple weeks, and it would cost about $20,000 a year. My parents, I come from a very working class background, and the insurance company said no, which was really difficult because I was not in a position where I could pay for that medication that I needed to be healthy. That was really tough because with that no, my body continued to just destroy my body and left me with a lot of irreversible damage that I'm still living with the effects of today, which is really hard because that was when I started realizing that the reason I became sick was biological, but the reason I stayed sick was structural. Eventually, my mother's labor union stepped in and got me the medication I deserved because they were not going to put up with any crap. But after a lot of hours with the insurance company and a lot of just, again, bad days, it was when I realized that in my moments of greatest vulnerability that I became really acutely aware of the differences in how people are treated in this country and all over the world. Because of my access to healthcare and because of my position, even though I had a lot of really terrible things happen to me and I wasn't treated very well, I still had the access to that medication. If I didn't have the access to the healthcare that I did, I would be dead, despite a few bumps in the road. And that is a story that I've never told publicly, so thanks for bearing with me, but that's why I stay committed to GlobeMed, and that's why I continue to show up every week.
All right. So, how many graduating seniors do we have in the room? Like, show of hands. All right, class of 2015. So, maybe some of you are like me, still trying to navigate the waters between college and real life, trying to find a job, trying to, see what happens when you really, leave the golden gates of your university. And so Vicki and I were talking about this, and we don't think a resume really cuts it when people are like, if we were to hire someone, we don't think a resume really cuts it. We think there are a few other really, really important questions that need to be asked. And I think Vicki might have a few prepared.
I might. Usually on a resume it says like volunteered at the local animal shelter for 6 months. But that doesn't really cover the content of your character. So I'm gonna give you a couple questions that I have for you, Brittany, and I think that this will really describe who you are as a person, and maybe you'll get a job out of it. So, what's your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Ben & Jerry's half-baked.
What's your favorite color?
Pink, yellow on a sunny day.
Favorite thing to do on a Friday night?
Oh boy, hummus and Friends, hours and hours and hours of Friends. Netflix Friends, not the real kind. Who would hire me? All right, no one! Woo, I'm done. No one?
Northwestern, your graduates. Thank you. Now you know what they're like. So now, if you meet Northwestern chapter members, you know who to avoid.
Hey!
And our next person is Cha-Cha Baru.
Thank you. Yes, I'm finally here to tell you a story. The story is, okay, I think I need to start again. I'm finally here to tell you a captivating story entitled Mamuna Mamuna. In the land of Shimundu Imundu of Kulundu, there lived a painter, handsome, tall, strong, a young man by the name I've just remembered. Before I tell you the name of this painter, I need to tell you the rule of his painting. Rule number 1, you had to be a lady. Rule number 2, painting was to be done in a closed door. And rule number 3, there was no rule number 3. And so, the name of this painter was called Mamuna Mamuna. Mamuna Mamuna loved painting, although he did not make a living out of it. Yeah, he could paint on the wall, paint on the roof, paint on the floor, irrespective of the shape and the size of the house. Some houses had just the perfect shape and size, which was simple, 36, 24, and 36. But others, you could hardly tell whether they were going or they were coming. They were simply 11, 11, 11. But you see, this did not even stop Mamuna Mamuna from painting them. Everyone in the neighborhood knew the perfect skill that Mamuna possessed. Some said he was born up with a skill, and some said he was brought up with a skill. One day, Mamuna Mamuna had a busy day, and he was called by a Spanish lady called Maria Cancarita Carita Sarita, who is simply called Maria. Equipped with his brush, he could enter and started painting. He could paint and paint and paint. He even composed a song for painting. I feel happy when I paint the wall. I feel happy when I paint the floor. I feel happy when I paint the roof. It was crystal clear that Mamuna Mamuna enjoyed painting. And when he was done, he could also pay you. Mamuna Mamuna could wash his brush and kept it safe. Maybe he was at your door knocking. Did you open for him? Don't answer that. How many of you like painting? Thank you, thank you, thank you. And how many of you have never ever painted? You see, there is no one. And so Mamuna continued painting until it got tired. Unfortunately, one day, Mamuna dipped his brush in a toxic paint, and that was the beginning of the end of his so-called career. It all started by a flu, stomachache, headache, malaria, typhoid, HIV, Kush. And Mamuna was pronounced a fallen hero. On to his burial, we sang, Anelo lero nyakanyango, Anelo lero nyakanyango. We ate and then left. And to you, my brothers and sisters, the global change maker, I urge you, please tell your friends, if they want to paint, make sure they wear gloves. Thank you.
Vicky, what are you doing?
I'm Snapchatting this. Because, if, you know how if a tree falls in a forest, you don't know if it makes a sound? If you host an event and you don't Snapchat it, did it ever happen?
Can we get a poll from the audience? If you don't Snapchat an event, did it ever happen?
If you say yes, it happened if you didn't Snapchat it, hands up. It did not, let's make this clear. It did not happen if you did not Snapchat it. Hands up.
No one gets it.
Okay. So you guys know how, like, if a tree falls in a forest, you don't know if it made a sound, if no one's around to hear it? Yeah? Everyone knows this saying, right? If you don't, I can't do much for you, because I just said it to you. So, but so there's this, I think there's a new phenomenon that exists now with this generation of millennials, other than student loans. Oh, that was nervous laughter. But yeah, if you go to an event and you don't Snapchat it, did it ever happen? Quick poll. Hands up if it did not happen because you did not Snapchat it.
No one else here is as obsessed the takeaway here. We're gonna move on.
I'm still Snapchatting.
We have more answers to read. We're a little bit of a mess, but we're trying to conceal it, so, let us know how we're doing.
What keeps you motivated as a leader and advocate for social justice? Knowing that, I could read this better, knowing that becoming complacent in advocating for social justice is guaranteed to negatively impact our world.
The idea that one group of people should not be inherently more deserving of justice and opportunity than others.
A passion for farmers.
No, fairness.
But we also have a passion for all farmers, am I right?
All right. So with that, wait, I'm sorry. I'm looking around the crowd. We were gonna pick the next name really quickly. Can everyone just stand up for a hot sec? Just really quickly, stand up. My 11th grade biology teacher taught me this. Go on your tiptoes and then come down. Tiptoes down, tiptoes down. The blood's flowing, circulating, stretching. Everyone's doing good. All right, how have people been doing with these stories? Let's hear it for our story. Awesome. All right, now you guys can sit. Thank you. Thank you for indulging. So we have our next name.
Haina Chen from Dartmouth University.
Hi guys, so I kind of forgot I put my name in the thing, so I'm gonna wing this. So one of the stories that comes to mind when I think about why I'm involved with social justice is that last winter break, I had the opportunity to go to Beijing, and I worked to teach English at a middle school there. And the way the system works there is that if you're not a resident of a particular city or a location, you don't have access to the public schools. And if you don't have access to the public schools, the kids there just sit home or help the parents sell things, and their future is really limited. So the school that I worked at was a nonprofit, and it worked to give education to the kids of migrant families that didn't have residency. So it really opened up a future for them for college and beyond. And one of the things I learned there was that education is such an important thing. And when you give someone the power of having the opportunity to learn something, it's really surprising what they do with it and how much they can actually learn from it. So coming back from it, as the time from when I left to now lengthened, I realized that doing something is really better than doing nothing, even though you don't know if it's right to do in the moment. And I feel that as long as we're trying to do something, it might be wrong, it might be right, but the attempt to try and the kind of the blind faith to go forward is what kind of propels us all forward.
All right, thanks so much. We have a couple more answers here. So what keeps you motivated to be a leader and advocate for social justice? The tiny humans keep me motivated. It gets cuter. Children have their whole lives ahead of them, and it's only fair to try to achieve social justice and health equity for them.
Similar to what Dr. Peter Locke said in today's panel, the sense of inherent wrongness and subsequent visceral morality keeps me motivated. In a day-to-day basis, Hearing the stories and also experiencing the passion of fellow students inspires me.
And the last one we have here is knowing that there is a need and seeing how small positive change can greatly affect someone's life. All right, so we're going to go on to the next story.
Phoeben Berhard, I'm so sorry. Phoeben Bahar.
From Wayne State. Girl, you come up here. Come on up.
It's okay, it's Barhana. I was born in Ethiopia. I'm from Eritrea. Okay, I just put in my name literally before we started, and I was like praying they'll call me. So I'm a little bit sad, but I will share my story. So I'll make this quick. My story is about this very, very inspirational guy named Dennis that I met in Uganda. So my partner organization is in Uganda, Kabale. And what's really inspiring for me, okay, what makes me really sad, but what also inspires me is seeing young people in Africa and in all of these developing countries, because it breaks my heart, because we're all here, we want a purpose, we want something to do, we want to change the world, and it makes me so sad because they want that too. They're also young people, they have their whole lives ahead of them. I mean, they should, right? And when they're told they can't, when they're faced with all this darkness, it really breaks my heart. It breaks my heart so much. But it also inspires me when I see someone who's so motivated despite all of these things. So I want you guys to keep in mind that whenever you're serving youth, especially people our age in their 20s, to keep in mind they have the same dreams and passions, but not the same opportunities to use them. Anyway, so in Uganda, Kabale, there is a huge stigma against HIV. If you have HIV, you don't talk about it. You don't say anything about it. You are scared in case you contract HIV by saying the word, okay? Or by being around anyone who says it. But that's a huge problem, because how do you treat people who refuse to acknowledge something that they have? And it's also terrible because a lot of people can't see past HIV. They're just like, this person is not even a person anymore. He's just a diagnosis, right? Or she's just a diagnosis. Well, when I was in Kabale, we met this guy named Dennis, and that he's one of the youth that Chihefo helps. And I was so proud of him because we met him. Chihefo has this HIV program where they network, where they come together and talk and share their stories. And he came up at the front of it was like a school, so he came up to the front and he said some of the most inspirational things I had ever heard. And it was so amazing because he said, HIV is a diagnosis, but that's not me. I am more than HIV. And he was speaking with so much passion, and he was so excited, and he had dreams and goals, and he refused to be put in this box that his society tried to put him in, right? And then the most amazing thing is, we were there just randomly, and we had someone from Chihefo, another person there with us, and they saw his passion, and they're like, you know what? We work with this radio station, we are going to put you on the air because you're so inspirational. And I was like, wow, look at all these people giving him this opportunity. And so he actually got to go on the air, on the radio, and he got to share his story, and Chihefo made that happen, right? This collaboration, this networking happening right there in Uganda amongst the local people. And so what's even more cool is he got on the radio, and he's this young kid who refused to be labeled as an HIV person, who refused to have that take over his life. And then all of these adults in his community were so inspired when they heard this young voice on the radio. And they called in and they were like, wow, I've never heard someone speak like this before. And I just sat back. I had nothing to do with this.
Globe Med at Wayne State had nothing to do with this. We just got to see it happen. And what I believe we do at Globe Med is that we create these opportunities for people. And my joy and my blessing was when one of our chapter members, got to videotape Dennis actually. So if you YouTube Dennis and Globe Med Wayne State, you'll see a little video that we made about Dennis and how inspirational he is. So that is my story. Thank you all.
So I have another story for you guys, but it's not anywhere near inspirational. If anything, it might make you feel better about your own lives because you're not living my life in this moment. So, how many of you feel that Chicago is exceptionally cold right now? Fun fact, it can be colder, but I don't mean like like cold, you know? So, once upon a time, there was a girl named Vicky. She was late for a Globe Med meeting that she was supposed to lead, incidentally. And she ran to cross a busy street, known here as Sheridan. It's a very busy street. The light was changing. I have missed about half of my life waiting for that light to change, so I wasn't gonna miss it. It's about 0 degrees that day, and there is something here that we like to call Satan's blood, aka black ice.
I've never heard that name.
It's my name. And as I'm in the middle of the intersection, Brittany, I slipped on the ice. And I fell. Oh, yeah, guys. We should practice falling. Next time. So I slipped on the ice, and I fell. And it wasn't just like an, oh gosh, it was like, as I'm halfway down, I realized there's no coming back from this moment.
Would you care to demonstrate?
It went a little like, oh yeah, no, I can't catch myself now. And I fell, and I kind of gave up. And once I impacted, I just let my whole body go limp. And I just kind of rolled. And I just lay there in the middle of the street, wondering what life had come to. Because the light was red, so it's like, you know, if you fall on a sidewalk, you can be like, no one saw that, right? So just brush it off and move on. But there were cars parked on either side of me, facing my direction. And people definitely saw and were like, yeah, I'm not helping you with that. And then I went to Globe Med and I tried to do something that made me valuable again to the world. And that's why I'm here today. And that's why I'm listening to your stories, because maybe one day I won't be the girl that slips on black ice. Maybe I'll catch myself with my other foot, like most people that know how to walk on 2 legs. So that being said, thank you! Oh my God! And that's what keeps me motivated to be a leader and advocate for social justice. However, this person is motivated because for them, social injustice doesn't make sense. Why are these systems of injustice occurring today? Not me, them. I want to be part of the leaders who answer and eliminate the need for that question.
All right, this person says, the extreme need. And we are so privileged. How can we not be motivated to lead and advocate for social justice? The hunger for true, real change, it has to start somewhere. So why not me?
You guys are gonna like this one. Hearing the stories of and talking to the people of marginalized communities, feeling their heartache as they struggle against injustice. Now you don't have to listen to us for another 5 minutes. But you do have to listen to Nikisha Iheanacho from St. Edward's University.
my name in the box. Oh my God. Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. I only have just a few things to say. And I'm gonna preface it with, I am a little high strung. So, forgive me if this goes off to the left a little bit. But sometimes I can't help myself. I am a very, very, very passionate person about people. I love people. Last night, when we were watching them dance, I could not stop smiling. You guys saw me dancing, right? I was doing my little thing. But I am very passionate about people. That is why I love GlobeMed. You guys, we cannot be a part of something like this and not accept people for who they are, for what they bring to the table. You cannot affect change if you don't accept who people are, because we cannot project who we are off on other people. You just cannot. It's not effective. It is not effective. I don't know if you noticed, but we are living in a dying world on every side and everywhere that you turn. There's so much social injustice going on in this world that it makes me physically ill. I don't understand what is going on with the world. How do we look at people every day with such disdain and not love them? How can we make change? How can we affect change if you can't love people where they are? Some people just don't know, you guys. So when we go on these trips and we're looking at things and we're looking at situations and things are happening in our lives, these are not things where you can go and tell your friends, oh, I went to Thailand for the summer. Oh, I went to Peru for the summer. I went and I made effective change for the summer. That's what I did with my summer. This is why I don't like to speak in public. Because I don't know how to do it in a calm manner. All I want you to take from this is do not project who you are on other people. We are so privileged. And we have to take this opportunity to not make change just in another country, but we gotta make change in our own backyard. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Vicki and I have been saying back there, we've honestly been blown away by all the stories you guys have shared so far and all the messages that are so important and are so, not just important to us, but so key and vital to the heart of this network and who we are as a network and what makes us the GlobeMed family that we are. And so for that, we really appreciate everyone coming and being so willing to share with the rest of the family.
Yeah, if anything, it's a little reminiscent of, does anyone ever get the feeling like when you're outside of your chapter, you want to do all this work for them, and you want to pour your heart and soul into it, and you think, I'm going to do something really awesome for them. And then you come and you let someone else do what they did, and then you're like, oh, I can't do this anymore, they're so good. And that's just kind of how I feel every time I go to a chapter meeting. It's like I come thinking I have a plan, and then I realize everyone else thought of this first, and everyone else has taken 4 steps beyond that. And it's just so humbling to work with people that are so incredible. And it's amazing to be behind stage and know that you guys are letting me stand here right now and babble when you guys have these incredible stories that make me want to cry a little bit and journal about it. So before I actually do start crying, we're gonna read some more slips. What keeps you motivated to be a leader and advocate for social justice? Being surrounded by inspirational leaders and learning from the successes and struggles they have experienced.
Because you should be the change you want to see. Every day, we make choices that may inadvertently reflect injustice. Through the advocacy of others, we learn to be better people.
The desire to live in a world where everyone is happy.
That doesn't feel good. All right, next we will be hearing from Jimena Bonilla from the University of Texas at Austin. UT Austin.
Alright, hey guys, my voice is a little low, so pardon for that, and I wrote things down because I tend to babble a lot, so, okay. My name's Jimena Gamboa Bonilla, and I'm representing the University of Texas at Austin. My story actually begins in Colombia. Colombia is a beautiful, beautiful country in South America, which is filled with beautiful people, amazing culture, incredible fun, like animals and plants, and like landscapes, and the food is the best thing in the world. Unfortunately, despite all of this, Colombia has suffered a very, very long history of tragedies. There's an ongoing civil war that has lasted for over 60 years, and there's no resolution in sight. And also, as many people know, we're very, very famous for, or infamous for the drug cartels and the cocaine trading, which has affected millions of homes. And every single one in the country has felt something because of all this. Okay, growing up, my mom worked in a very underprivileged school, and for many of her students, she was the only mother figure they've ever had, and the only person that paid attention to them. And many of them were victims of the Civil War, and they were forced out of their homes, they were mistreated, some of them were even forced to join the Revolutionary War, like against the country, against their will. And that's something really hard to see, is children literally having to do awful things against their will because their families are being threatened and because they're the only man in the house. And the other side of that, my father is used to be a very prominent journalist in Colombia. And he is someone who has dedicated his entire life, over 50 years of being a journalist, to shed the light of many of the injustices that the government has done against the people of Colombia. They have stolen money, they have done a lot of under-the-table trading, and that's something that has given us a very, very high cost to our family. After many threats and a lot of unsafe situations, we were forced to literally leave our home because it was just not safe. Because we didn't know, we didn't know if we were gonna have another day. Okay, many years after that, we finally moved to the US, and wow, I'm so sorry, I'm getting so much. Not all that great, because my sister, she has a growth hormone problem, and it's incredibly expensive, and that took us a huge setback. My father, he had to get a procedure done that would cost him 6 years of his earnings from his job. Just being able to pay a doctor's visit was 13 hours of my mom's part-time job. So it was really hard on us to finally reach this amazing place and realize that our health had to be put to the side just because we needed to have another meal at the table. Okay. And unfortunately, we were lucky able to escape our own home. We have a family that loves us. We found people to support us. And this is what GLOMET is about, is having people around nations just ask for help and be given help and not asking for anything back, because all we want back is for them to progress, and for them to have a better life. So, thank you.
That's cool if I love guys. That's solidarity. So we have some more. There are 250 of us, so we have like 250 of these. Do you guys have the question memorized yet, or do I need to read it again? Do you want me to read it again? I hope that you like sleep. What keeps me motivated? What keeps me motivated? And you're like babbling it in your sleep. Turn it into a song as you're showering. Keeping me motivated. This person is motivated by love, but not a love that does. Or I'm sorry, not a love that just is, a love that does. Social justice is the big picture. Love is in the details, and they need each other.
Seeing one passionate member of our chapter that speaks with such conviction, it really resonates with me.
This one's really excited. It starts with, oh my gosh! I love people! Whoever you are, you're adorable. To be a leader in this org, you must love people, not lose people, and embrace their culture. Agree or disagree, those terms don't matter. What matters is that you have to accept what people bring to the table. That's what makes you grow. Next, Nate.
Next we have John Liu from Duke University.
I don't know how to top off the last speaker, so I'm going to say let's give her another round of applause. Audience, thank you for moving me and touching me so much by that last speech. But anyways, I want to tell a story of how I got involved with GLOMET. So it actually started with a Facebook video about 2 months ago, give or take. So I saw a post on the Duke Student Government Facebook page, and it was about schistosomiasis. For those of you who don't know, that's a waterborne parasite that impacts 200 million people worldwide. But the thing that really surprised me was, for the cost of a McDouble, or for the cost of a McChicken, that's $1, but you can treat 5 people for schistosomiasis. That's the one thing that really surprised me. Then I started asking myself, if who's going to solve this problem, right? If not me, then who? If not now, then when? So, later that night, this was at maybe like 3 a.m. in the morning instead of studying, or watching Netflix, I decided to go send out a bunch of emails to WHO collaborating centers in China, saying like, hey, I'm really interested in schistosomiasis. Needless to say, they never responded. Kind of sucked. But anyways, so a couple days afterwards, I emailed a person who, I actually Facebook messaged the person who posted that initial video on schistosomiasis. And I asked, hey, what can I do to help out? And then she told me about this organization called GLOMET. It's a pretty chill place. Really chill people too. But anyways, so that night I sent out an email to GloMed's, the GloMed chapter president. Her name is Amy Can. She's not here with us today, but she's running our gala dinner back at Duke University, so she's doing a lot. But anyways, so she says, hey, you send me an application. So I sent her an application, and then she starts talking about this thing called Summit, which I never heard of before. I'm a freshman, by the way. And this is roughly about 5 days after the Summit deadline. Then I say, hey, this is a really awesome opportunity. I really want to go to this thing. And she said, too bad. Here I am standing today, out here today. So I ended up sending an email to the national office. And they were like, yeah, sure, send us an application. So just a quick tidbit, if you ever forget to submit your GloMed Summit application, this is a good way to say, go behind the door. GloMed never heard this one. So long story short, here I am today, I'm standing on the stage. So I want to leave by challenging you with 3 things. First thing is I challenge you to ask yourselves, what are you passionate about? Then I challenge you to do whatever you can to make that passion a reality. And 3, if I challenge whoever out there is from WHO, if there's anyone, to please respond to your emails in the future. Thank you.
Alright, so I didn't think it was really fair that I was the only one that had to be sufficiently embarrassed by my little extra questions, little things I like to do, and the things that I like. So I have some questions for you, Vicky.
Fun.
I'm really not creative with this, so I'm just gonna shoot them right back at you. Favorite color?
Red.
Favorite ice cream?
Mint chocolate chip.
Friday night, what are you doing?
Sleeping.
Really?
Literally though. But actually, I come home and that's bae.
That is bae, that is bae. Okay. So I guess now, you guys are all looking I see some smiles, so this is good. We've never done this before, so we're trying to read the audience. We're trying to, they say know your audience, know who you're dealing with. I see some smiles, and then I see some people that look really tired, which, hey, I get. It's been a long day, an awesome day, a long day. We've all been up pretty early this morning. So this is something I've always wanted to do, and it really, it came up when we were looking up the how to be funny.
As one of the things to not do.
Says who? Okay. So, all right. Can I just get a show of hands, just really quickly? Who knows the song by Journey, Don't Stop Believing? All right. This is good. This is real good. Okay, I'm excited now. Okay, so what we're gonna do? We were told to This isn't necessarily to be funny, but that we like the song. Community building, we all have community building, and we want to get everyone involved in this. These stories, just because you're not sharing your personal story, doesn't mean that you can't be just as involved in this night as everyone else. So I don't sing personally, but we're gonna get a little clap started, and then we can all just boogie. So I'm gonna get started. So I need hey, my Northwestern people that are all laughing at me, I need you to jump in first. I saw Alina and Alexis in the back doing some dance moves before. They didn't think I saw because they're in the back, but I saw you. And so as a group, we're just gonna do a little jam sesh. Is everyone good with that? Yes. Yes. They like it. Vicky didn't think you guys would like it. All right. So I'll get started. I'm not gonna use the mic because I'm just I don't do the singing thing. But we're gonna get started and we're gonna do a little groovy sing-along time. Alright, ready? How does it start? It goes, just a small town girl. Living in a lonely world. Anyway, So the question, all right. What keeps this person motivated is the hope that someday we won't have to be advocates for social justice.
Motivated by connecting with people around the world and discussing how I can help them.
All right. This person thinks that humans have this selfish urgency, a selfish motive behind their actions, even in non-for-profit organizations. For example, how would I feel if I was in that position? I'm an advocate for social justice because I think we need to overcome this. And our next storyteller is
Kim Salazar from Loyola.
Because I did not put my name in this. I don't know who did. If it was one of my Loyola people, I'll be so mad at you. But, okay, I didn't have anything prepared. But I guess we'll just talk about why I stayed in Globe Med for so long. I've been in Globe Med for 3 years. Okay, let's see. Well, basically, I went to Loyola. I went in as a freshman, and I had a really hard time connecting with the rest of my Loyola community. Now, I come from, a small town in the west suburbs. Mostly I interacted with a lot of Latino students and a lot of African American students. I've never had to really interact with white students. So coming to Loyola, it was, such a culture shock because I'm like, damn, I didn't realize how much of a minority I am. And I didn't feel like I fit in my Loyola community at all because, coming in as a minority, surrounded by people that come from more privilege than I have. So, I never really realized how much privilege I actually did have till I came to Globe Med. And I learned about all of these different topics about social justice and global health equity and learning about all these communities that are definitely way less privileged than I am. So I'm like, okay, I want to be proud of being a minority, of being a Latina, of having the privilege of coming to Loyola and getting an education. Because a lot of these students in these different communities don't have that opportunity. So I just want to say, everyone be thankful that we have the opportunity to get an education and to be a part of such a great organization like Globe Med. Thank you.
The box is big.
If you can hear me, clap once. If you can hear me, clap twice. This is what I do to get chapter meetings started. We have the final 3 slips.
That will be reading.
And then we'll be done. So, this person is motivated, oh my gosh, by a J.K. Rowling quote. Quote, "We don't need magic to change the world. We carry that power inside ourselves already. We have the power to imagine something better."
I asked both people I know and random people I've met, what change do you want to see in this world? The diverse and personal answers inspired me to continue my mission of advocacy for the well-being of all current and future human beings.
Last but not least, I should hope that this applies to all of you. This person is motivated by their partner organization. This is the last story of the night, you guys. This person will have the honor of closing our first story slam ever, and that person is
Kara Molan from University of Notre Dame.
Hello everyone, my name is Kara Molan, and I am from the University of Notre Dame. I just wanted to thank you all so much for the honor of letting me share my voice with you this evening, because my story is all about the importance of being able to share that voice, and I know that sometimes that's hard to do, but we all have the incredible opportunity and privilege to do so. So here's to all of those who don't have that same opportunity. We send down pure water from the sky, that with it, we may give life to a dead land, and slake this thirst of things we have created. The words of Surat Al-Furqan from the Quran. So blessed are they who hunger and thirst for righteousness. Jesus Christ, the Sermon on the Mount. And I found myself on a mountaintop too, during the summer of 2013 in Jamaica. I was wearing a seatbelt, but I wish I had been strapped in some sort of harness, as my team members and I were catapulted forth from our seats. We lurched forward, I heard the clatter and the clanks of all of our trunks and our luggage falling forth. My friend Leah scrambles, I'm okay. She was sitting in the back and everything had fallen on top of her. We had braked again for a goat as we made our... Yes, actually in Jamaica, as you go up the mountain, they have billboard signs that say, wear a seatbelt, stop the fatalities. It's wild. So we're making our 3-hour descent of the mountains to a village called Mandeville, where a school called the St. John Bosco Home for Boys stands, where 2 boys called Omar and Julian are starting the 5th grade. At 10 and 11 years old, these boys have their whole lives ahead of them, and they can break a cycle of violence that defines their community in Mandeville. See, Julian and Omar are among the lucky ones. When they turn 16, they will work in the butcher shop with John. John? Yes, John. John, the man with the kind eyes and a bright smile, and the crippled, mangled hand that his own father burned years ago to punish him for sobbing when his mother died. Yes, John. And as I gaze at my own hands, perfectly functional, covered in blotches of black from paint storm crates on windowsills, and I hear Sister Mimi in the background warn us not to drink the tap water in our cabin, and I look back at my own hands, my own healthy hands, and I know that even if I too were sick or injured, that when I was sick and injured, I too was among the lucky ones. Step back with me to 2009. Oddly enough, all that I desired during the days following my local procedure to remove a pancreatic tumor was a sip of water. One single drop of hydration to cool my cracked lips and dry tongue. I knew that my doctor had prescribed a strictly intravenous diet for the next 5 days, but I certainly would not have minded if one of my nurses secretly slipped a raspberry smoothie or perhaps frozen lemonade into my hands. And in fact, as I dozed in and out of consciousness, there's definitely a possibility that I suggested such an idea to them more than once. But as my requests were denied, I shifted my thoughts from icy beverages to the hospital room surrounding me. After the time I spent in the children's ICU, I came to realize that what I was that the world was truly yearning for so much more than the quenching of some sort of physical thirst, something more than a simple lemonade could ever quell. While I was recovering, I frequented the activity room where I played bingo and read magazines, and I met someone named Brittany. And it was under the fluorescent lights of that room that I learned the definition of solidarity. From my friend Brittany, I learned that the phrase broken spine meant more than fractured vertebrae. It meant spending Christmas away from home and without her family. On the surface, it seemed as though the only similarity we shared was the pattern printed on our hospital gowns. Our bodies demanded unique cures, our lives, as we were told, were vastly distinct. But our hearts yearned for the same thing, to be healthy and to be happy and to be free. We were not nearly as different as we were alike. And so I look at my hands, my healthy hands, and when I look into John's eyes, I see Brittany, and I see myself, and I see you. And as I came to the sinking realization that I am but one person, I am filled with the hope that is found in the efforts of solidarity and the knowledge that I am not alone. And now there is a fire in my chest. There is a fire in my chest, but it doesn't burn me. And that flame reminds me that while I could not necessarily understand or alleviate the hardships of everyone I was meeting in Mandeville, I could do my very best to help those around me when I returned home. I could try to quench the thirst of a people starving for more than just food or water or wealth or power. It was at St. Leo the Great in Cincinnati, working with Guatemalan and Burundian refugees, that I found an opportunity to do that. So on a Sunday morning, I am taken aback. The bold patterns of the Burundian women, their long, flowing dresses swishing back and forth in time with the music, and I am taken back to Mandeville, the unmistakable sound of the drums at a small chapel. Vermilion, scarlet, and cerulean fabric, moving, flowing, all in unison. Each voice, Omar, Julian, John, Brittany, me, you, floating toward the rafters of St. Leo the Great in downtown Cincinnati. And together, we cry out. We cry out for that single drop of water, for we are all thirsting for righteousness, and our lips are parched for justice. So I wondered, what would I do with my healthy hands? And I asked the same of you. And that's why we're all here today for GlobeMed.